Hey guys, what's up? We're back here in the office at Top Rank International Vehicle Importers, and we're going to go back over something that I touched on in the last video but didn't really dive into. So as you saw, we've got a couple R34 GTRs in the shop right now, 3 of them actually, and uniquely each one of them has a certain reason why it can legally be here, despite the fact that the R34 GTR isn't eligible for general import yet. The one we've had here the longest is a factory built race car. The factory built race car is unique in that Nissan only made a handful of them. We're fortunate enough to have one here. The car is built for race only. It has documentation stating that it is built for race only, not intended for use on the street, which is different than a track car. A track car can be any car that's driven on a track. A race car is built to be a race car. So we'll show you that one here shortly. The next one we have here is a Midnight Purple 2 show display car. So that car is unique in that it qualifies for an exemption called show display, which means that the vehicle can be driven only 2,500 miles a year, and it's intended only to be brought out to events, to be shown, displayed, kind of for cultural and educational purposes. Now, this car qualifies because of its unique color shifting paint and the fact that there's under 500 produced, which are both required for show or display. So technological advance, historical significance, and under 500 produced. So I'll put a link right here to showordisplay.com where you can read more about that. The third and final one that we have here is a Motorex car. The Motorex car is incredibly unique. There's only a handful of them out there in the whole world. One of them was Paul Walker's car. The one we have outside is one of them, and there's a handful of them floating around the US. I believe there's one in Europe too. But basically what Motorex was a program that existed in the late 90s to really bring these cars into compliance for use on the road. Now the intention was that they were going to be able to do compliance on a bunch of these cars. People were going to be able to buy them. They were going to be brought up to US standards, emission standards, and they were going to be able to be driven. Motorex didn't last long enough to see all of that through, so what we have left is only these cars that are out there that are compliant and eligible to be driven on the road, and one of them's in the garage. So let's go check out these cars. Door number 1, locked. Let's try this again. Door number 2. All right. Behind door number 1, we've got the factory built race car. Now, this car, as you can see, is a race car. It's got the Nismo Omori factory built RB26 DETT, still twin. Might recognize this car from some video games. It's the Automotive Forums GTR. This car was raced by Igor. Sean, who works here, was on the race team for the vehicle. As you can see, definitely not something that you would think would be intended to be driven on the street. So definitely a race car, which is why it gets the exemption. Not sure what that button does, but it looks pretty cool. Shout out Toyo Tires. Raised wheels. This is a race car. So one of the most common questions we get is, hey, if I bring this car into the country and I promise everybody that I'm never going to drive it on the street, I'm only going to use it for drifting, I'm only going to use it on the racetrack, why can't I do that? It's because that's not a race car. That's a street car that you're driving on a racetrack. This is a race car. This has race documentation. It's been raced all over in sanctioned races, so there's proof that this is a race car. And not only that, I mean, going back to it again, I mean, this was built as a race car. So again, all the documentation from Nissan for that, and from the Amore factory, so that's why this one gets to be a race car. Here is again, this is an original advertisement for the car. So again, race car. Through door number 3, Motorex car. Right here, shower display. So, excuse the squeaky floors, there's no way around it. But this is the shower display car that we just talked about. Again, Midnight Purple 2, not to be confused with Midnight Purple, not to be confused with Midnight Purple 3. Neither one of those will get you the shower display exemption. It has to be Midnight Purple 2. So the Midnight Purple 2 is unique in that it's color shifting. We'll go outside by the light, we'll get some more of that. But this is what allows you shower display exemption. It is unique in that there's under 500 cars produced, actually just under 300 of this car, but the exemption is 500 or less, and some sort of technological advance or historical significance. The technological advance again on this is that it's the color shifting paint. So Midnight Purple 1 isn't going to do it for you. Midnight Purple 3 isn't going to do it for you because Midnight Purple 2 already did it, so it's not unique anymore. So this is the car. It's totally stock. So once the car turns 21 years old, there's no emission requirements for the car because it's exempt at 21 for emissions, and NHTSA is 25. So between 21 and 25 is where you get the shower display. Now this car isn't 21 yet, so we had to go through a whole mess of emission compliance in order to get this car on the road. We're actually still working on it right now. So soon enough, this will be on the road, and once it's on the road, it's 2,500 miles a year until it turns 25, and then there's no mileage restriction left on the car. All right, next, Motorex. Get off of me. Yo, there's a wild ass bug out here, dude. Get out of here, G. What are you doing? Bruh. All right, I have no idea what that bug was, but I've never seen that before. That thing was wild. It was like, it was wild. All right, Motorex car. The holy grail of R34 GTRs. Federally legal, state legal, not California because of emissions, but legal. So, this car, to register it in California, would require way more work than anybody's going to do to it. So this car is going out of state for sure, but super unique in that there's no mileage restriction. This car has a mileage restriction. This car, no mileage restriction. It can be driven as a daily driver if you want to drive it as a daily driver. It can be registered with regular plates if you want to register it with regular plates. So can this car, but no mileage restriction. Let's take a look at this. This one came to us. Our owner is interested in selling it, so you know, we kind of took it in and we are going to take care of that. But really unique car, right around 20,000 miles on it. Super, super clean. Pretty much stock inside, aftermarket Momo wheel. Haltech ECU. Doing some tuning stuff on it right now. I'm sure you've seen this featured in D Sport if you subscribe or have been to any of their events. Underneath the hood, absolutely ridiculous. Super, super clean car. Now again, the reason this car is legal is it's a Motorex car. So we talked about that a little bit earlier and what that all entails. And basically, the car was brought into compliance with US specifications. So the car meets the standards required for a vehicle on the road in the United States right now. You can see here, substitute VIN. That is a unique trait to Motorex cars. There's a whole bunch of misinformation about what happened with Motorex, what's legal, what's not legal. So you really need to do your homework when finding out if a car is a real Motorex car, if somebody tried to find a way to fake it, if somebody's lying to you, if you're looking at an R34 and saying it is one. The best thing you can do is call the NHTSA and ask for a bond release. If you call the NHTSA and ask for a bond release, there should be one of these on file. If it's a Motorex car, they'll be able to send that over to you. It costs $10 and now you have your proof. If they don't have it on file, you don't want the car. So again, this is the final exemption for an R34 GTR. So we've got the factory built race car, we've got show and display, which could be the Midnight Purple 2 or the M-Spec NER. The M-Spec NER is a whole nother can of worms that we're not going to open up. So Midnight Purple 2 is where it's at. And the Motorex R34 GTR, the holy grail of R34 GTRs for right now in the United States because no mileage restriction. Pricing on these. The R34 GTR race car, not going to happen. So it's not for sale. It's probably never ever going to be for sale. And if it was for sale, it would be a number that I couldn't even tell you. But these, you know, we sold this one for $150. Prices on them have gone up a little bit because Midnight Purple 2 is such a rare and desirable color in the first place. And then again, you know, it's the fastest track to getting one in the United States through show and display. A Motorex car is, I mean, you kind of just have to put a number on it and see if someone pays it. I don't want to say that they're priceless, but you know, they're for sure a six-figure car. You know, probably something with a 2 in front of it, you know, so expect to spend around 200 plus if you wanted something like this. Again, it's a true enthusiast car. We expect the R34 GTRs to be, you know, well over $100,000 by the time they're eligible for general import. So you're not too far off track for what something like this is going to cost, especially since this only has especially since this one only has 20,000 miles on it. You know, it is an absolutely unbelievable car. So we're super lucky to have all three of these here right now. You know, the race car, the R34 show and display, and the R34 Motorex. All right, guys, thanks for hanging out. Hopefully that adds a little clarity to why we have some of these R34 GTRs here and why we have them here legally, unlike some of our friends down in Florida. Anyhow, if you have any questions, check out showordisplay.com. I'll put a link to that in the description. If you have any questions about Motorex, you know, feel free to jump in the comments. I can answer what I can for you there. Their website's not up anymore, but I'm sure there's enough articles out there for you. Otherwise, factory built race car. Again, if you got a question about what qualifies for a race car and what doesn't qualify for a race car, feel free to drop us an email or give us a call. Otherwise, you know, Google Automotive Forums R34 GTR, and I'm sure you'll find some information in there.